Welcome everyone. We'll be starting in a few minutes.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. My name is Niccolo Zazzari. I'm one of the CyberWiseR.eu team. I'm actually a communication and marketing expert at Trust IT, so we are responsible for organizing basically the session, the event, sorry. So in this session, basically what we are looking at is having a sort of glimpse of what we deliver to the CyberWiseR.eu project, which, as you heard from the presentation of this morning, is all about cybersecurity training. So that's basically the main buzzword here on this event. So here with me, I also will have my colleagues in the CyberWiseR.eu team, Anze Zitnik from XLab, Guillermo Juste from Athos, and Vasileios Fotis from RIA Group, which all have basically helped us in delivering this wonderful training platform that you will see a glimpse of in a few seconds. So just let me check with my colleague if we are ready. So Ange, Guillermo, and Vasilis, are we all ready to be starting?
Ready from my side, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are ready. Thank you very much, and hello to everybody.
So I will share my screen and I will introduce you basically to the one part of the platform, and then I will pass the floor then to my colleagues for, let's say, the most technical part. So basically what you will be seeing today is basically the entire workflow that a user which wants to train in the CyberWiseR platform have to take in order to be properly skilled. So the CyberWiseR.eu platform is a platform which is available online. So what you see now on the screen is our website, which is the single access point to the online platform. We will come back to this also in the afternoon session, which I suggest you attend as well, because we are looking to a more in-depth look at the platform, some advanced components, and also, and more importantly, you will have the opportunity to apply to have basically a free, let's say, training path composed by a different set of exercise, which we'll be looking at during the afternoon. So let's say now that I am going to impersonate a user which have already been enrolled into the CyberWiseR platform. So all I need to do is basically log into the website, which is www.cyberwiser.eu. I can enter my credential, and in this case, I will impersonate a user which is called Mary Smith. I enter my credential that the platform will create for me. And from there, I basically can enter my workspace. What is a workspace? Is basically a private area, what you will see now on the screen, which we call the demo workspace, in which basically all the people all the trainees of a certain organization can enter. And basically it's like a communication channel between all the trainees of a certain organization. So here you can see I can filter by the recent activity that has been done in the group. I can search for messages, or also by surname and by keywords. So as you see here, we have some messages that have been sent among the different trainees. You can see the question about the phishing exam by Mary Smith, and some previous messages by other students that have joined the same organization. Obviously, this is also a place where they can store file, but it is mostly used as communication, especially before and during the actual training course. Here is also the place where they can access the actual course by clicking on my training path banner on the right. This will redirect the user basically directly to another, let's say, area in which basically all the user of a certain organization can see which kind of courses they are basically enrolled to take. So in this case, which you will see in this demo, we will have two courses. So first one is the awareness of phishing course, and the second one will be the session hijacking. So each course is basically made up of a certain set of steps. So let me open the awareness of phishing so we can have a more in-depth look at it. So here in this case, you will see we have 5 steps. The first one is basically theoretical material. So we basically developed inside of the CyberWiser project a set of training material composed by slides, supporting audio, but also compendium and write-ups that you can find here, which are following a risk-centric approach on all of the topics that we are going to cover in the CyberWiser platform. And we will have a more in-depth look at this in a moment. Then we have an hands-on training step, which is actually the practical part in which we are going to be redirected to the cyber range, and from there basically simulate an infrastructure or an environment and perform some actions, which my colleagues that will explain briefly. And then we have a revision quiz and an exam, which are basically a set of simple questions based on the experience that you will get on the theoretical material and on the hands-on training session to prepare you basically for the final exam, where the students will get a score. If the score is passed, then the user can correctly get their diploma. So let me go quickly through the theoretical material so you can have a look at what it looks like. So you can see I clicked on the first link, and basically I have a brief description of what the course is about and the learning outcomes, and also its duration. So if I access it, a new window will pop up. A new window will pop up, and you should be able to see.
Welcome to the Awareness of Phishing Attack course powered by CyberWiser.
And to hear basically the part of the theory that we developed.
What social engineering is and how it is used in phishing attacks.
In the context of the project.
Understand the categories of phishing.
So here I'm just giving you some of the examples that we have. Obviously, we are not going to go
need of attackers to use phishing.
through the
whole
training material, since it will take, 15 minutes.
We start our course with phishing definition.
But basically, this will give you the basic
phishing
knowledge
is a fraud aimed at the acquisition.
To then perform basically the hands-on training and the revision quiz and the exam. So let me skip just for a moment the hands-on training, which with my colleague will take care of. And let's see now at the exam. So let me give you an example of this. So if I click on that, I can see that I will have 3 minutes to complete the exam. And in this case, I have only one attempt for each of the questions. So very similar to what we saw before. Here a new window will pop up. And obviously I have a resume of what we said. So 3 minutes, one attempt for results, and I need to pass the score of 75%. So if I start on that, basically I can, I'm presenting with some different set of questions. So that I can basically need to submit. So you will see there are single or different choice. So there are basically various type of questions. So you can see here we need to match basically the correct answers with the questions below. So I'm not going to do this. So for the sake of this demo, is just to give you, I mean, an example of basically what the exam look like. So let's just put it on like this. So in this case, for example, I need to click on possible phishing indicator. So the system allows me to select the ones which I think they are. Obviously, the theoretical material will explain obviously this to you. And then I can go with this. And I can do the last one. And the last one as well. So, and from there, I can see that in this case, for example, I have not passed. So I've done the 70% and the 75%, which was the required, basically scoring threshold to be triggered. Obviously, I can review my answer at any time, so I can see which one I did correctly and which one, for example, I did not. So this will help us basically the next time to be better prepared for this kind of exam. And obviously, I repeat, I need to do this in under 3 minutes. So let's now go through the hands-on training session, which I think is the most interesting for you, most interesting part of the exercise. So in each exercise, basically, we have a set of instructions that the trainees need to follow. So these are always available for the trainees, and you can see here, basically, we have explained the objectives of what the phishing exercise is, a description with basically and a sort of context. So what the trainees needs to do, and some of the instructions to basically start the exercise. So a typical trainee should leave this open in a new window and check basically the first instruction when he first reaccesses the cyber range. So if I click on the cyber range scenario, I should be redirected to the cyber range that we developed, and I should be logged in as Mary Smith. Here I am, and so here I can see the topology of the scenario. The exercise has started, and once I'm ready, I can click on OK. But now I will leave the floor to Vasilis and Guillermo, which will take you through more in detail look at this exercise. So, Vasilis.
Okay, good afternoon from me as well. Can I share the screen?
Yeah, you should be able to do it.
So my screen is shared. Can you all see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, and also my mouse cursor.
Yes.
Moving. Yes. Okay. Good. So yes, I will go through the awareness of phishing scenario that we have set up for the demo. I will present two views, one from the operator and designer scenario designer view, which is on the left. I will maximize it in a bit, and the user view, which is on the right window. So here we have the designer and operator view. We call operator the person who configures and maintains the exercise through the full cycle of the scenario. We see that we have two layers, the upper and the lower layer. The upper layer contains the components necessary for the student and user environment for the exercise to operate. student systems has access to the components that are presented on the upper layer. In this exercise, we try to simulate as close as possible the necessary components that a typical organization has with regards to the systems that handle the email flow. So we have all the systems on the left that is representing the internet part. The full scenario components are separated by a router. On the left, we have the internet part with an email server that handles all the mailboxes of the users and employees of a certain organization. We have the web server that handles the web pages, their content, and also their security certificates. DNS server that performs the domain name resolution for the web links, web pages, and domains that are included in the mailboxes of the users. And also we have an attacker here on the wild in the internet that performs phishing campaigns. All these phishing emails, they arrive to the mail server that serves the emails to each of the employees on the right. The right part contains the local area, let's say, of the organization, and the workstations of the students are sitting here. We have a trainer machine here that has access to some certain tools necessary for monitoring the performance of the students. On the bottom layer, we have the advanced components used for the scenario. This is the back-end engine, let's say, of all the scenario and the components. Just describing few of them. The message broker is necessary for all the messages that are either changed, let's say, between the two layers. We have the economic risk evaluator. This is an evaluation tool containing an algorithm given at any certain moment based on the actions of the users, the cyber risk for the organization. We have the performance evaluator that uses an algorithm, digests all the information from several sensors that we have at the back end of the exercise scenarios. And we give an overview of each student performance in real time. And we have a server here that controls the flow of all the configuration parameters, actually automates the exercise, is capable to reset any time and change the parameters at any time of the exercise parameters, including DNS parameters, email servers, email users, desktop icons, etc., etc. I could show you briefly on the right side, we have details for each virtual machine. We have network system details, CPUs, logical virtual CPUs, memory sizes that are all configurable on the, let's say, it's all possible for the operator and the scenario creator to configure these settings. So I will step to the student view here. So as Nicolo said, the student, by logging to CyberWiser EU, has a link for this exercise and lands on this view. Actually, I will put it aside. It's a different view for the user, rather the operator's view. He cannot, of course, see the management layer, and he or she, the student, cannot access any of this machine. Can have an overall view, but the accessible machines are indicated by the blue icon on top. So in this case, Mary Smith, which is our let's say virtual student, impersonates the employee and has access to the workstation of Mary Evans. So let's see. The student clicks on the VNC icon to access the desktop of the workstation. So actually, the exercise is based on the trainees or students impersonating an employee working at a certain company. In our case, it's called kernelcars.com. They receive all the credentials to log into the mailbox and all the necessary details to be able to distinguish between legitimate and phishing emails on the information that they have in the instructions manual. Initially, they click on the icon on the desktop. The mail client opens. They have the credentials to log in for that particular mailbox. And they are presented with a certain number of emails. Some of these emails are phishing, some of them are legitimate. And as I said, based on the information that they already have, domain name, organization name, some colleagues, and their position, etc., they can decide if an email is suspicious or not, or it is legitimate. So the goal is for the student to go through each email and act upon its content, investigate the content, have a look, and be able to start looking for the phishing indicators. What could be the phishing indicators? It could be the sender, it could be the recipient, if the sender is known, or if it is a spoofed name, the same for the receiver, subject, attachments, the context of the email itself, like grammatical errors, links, and etc. For example, we open this one, and we are working, as I said before, in kernelcars.com. We have the legitimate domain name. We check one of the let's say actions to check is to hover over the center, and the email client reveals to us what is the original domain name, which is kernelcars.com. We see it on the black text box below. And we go through the email. The student goes through the email, looks for suspicious greetings or grammatical errors, and then, of course, looks at the links. And the links, as we have on the instructions, he has to look on the real link, which appears on the bottom left. If you see, maybe if I make this bigger. Okay. Looks at the links and then estimates if this is legitimate or not. He proceeds to click the link. For example, here I'm landing in a message that this is a legitimate email. Indeed, all these actions of clicking links and opening an email or deleting an email are credited with points, minus or plus. The main goal here is for the student to be able to distinguish phishing indicators in an email and do the correct actions on how to handle the suspicious email, which is not to click if the student suspects that this might be a malicious email. Avoid to click the link, so you gain 1 point. And then next step is to forward and report to the local security team the suspicious email. So the student forwards to this particular mail address. This is, if done properly, is another point, a positive point, and in sequence, he needs to delete the malicious email. So you have 3 correct actions for a phishing email that are credited with a maximum points. In another occasion, we open another one. We can go through each email the same way. We hover over the links and we see that we have, for example, on the bottom left, we have a domain kernel-cars.com, but not kernelcars.com, which is ours. But the name on the link is kernelcars.com. So we have already an indicator that something is wrong. We investigate everything possible. For more advanced users, we have also the option to go to the email header and look for interesting points here. For example, reply to, center, etc., etc. And by clicking a malicious link, we have also a landing page that tells you that this page is malicious, and you have the reasons why this email is, for example, you have an email domain that is fake, a spoofed URL here, you have an HTTP instead of HTTPS, spelling errors, and so on. And actually, that's the purpose of the exercise, to go through all the emails, do the inspection, and follow the correct actions that you are evaluated also for. All these actions, as I said before, are evaluated in real time by our performance evaluator tool. And here I pass the microphone to, yes, the trainer here can see the evaluation in real time at each action of every user. I will open a better view for this one. And my colleague, I will pass the microphone to my colleague.
And now, yeah. Well, Vasilis explained very well what the student have to do in the exercise. And when the students are doing the exercise, the trainer will have different tools to follow the advance of every student. One of these tools, maybe the most important one, is the performance evaluator, which actually have a double function. One is to show the develop or the scenario to the trainer. Therefore, the trainer can speak with the student and saying if something is doing not good, if something is doing good actually. And at the end of the scenario exercise, we'll send the results to the cross-learning facilities in order to get his diploma. In this case, for example, well, the performance evaluator is adaptable for every scenario, will show the information relevant to this scenario. In this case, what we can see right now is a compendium of all the action performed with all the users. For example, we can see, for example, Pierre Morris, who have not done very well. Actually, he have reported one free links opened that phishing links opened, so he have bad score. And the trainer have also the possibility to take a look of one user in detail. In this case, we are going to see Henry White. And here you can see the results. You can see the maximum score is 5 and the correct score is 4. And you have 41 right action and 6 wrong actions. And this is the actually the tool that for this scenario we give to the trainer to follow the exercise. At the end of the scenario, the score will be sent. And yes, I think we can pass the floor now to Nicolo again, that will show, will access the other scenario that we have for this training path.
Okay, I will stop sharing mine.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so you should be able to see my screen. So now Mary Smith has ended her exercise, so basically she can return back to the portal. She can take the revision quiz and the exam, and she can see how she performed basically in the various steps. So we can have a look at here. So we can see that he has completed, for example, the theoretical material. He has taken 0.3 out of 5 in the cyber range, exercise, which Guillermo and Basis showed us just now. We have no point, obviously, in the revision quiz because we didn't score this. And then for the exam that we did before, now we have the 100% because I actually took it right while the cyber range exercise was performing. So basically, at this point, so once the exercise and the exam is done, basically Mary Smith, she can enter the final steps, which is basically a certificate of completion of this activity. So in this case, the phishing. So this will become available only once all the steps required are complete, and she can get basically the certificate saying that she now passed basically the awareness of phishing course. This is downloadable and she can store it for future use. But we had 2 actually courses. So now one is the phishing, the other one is the session hijacking, which you will see is structured in a similar way, but kind of different. So we still have the session hijacking theoretical part, and you will see here is a much more bigger duration. We have 45 minutes, so I'm not gonna look into that. And we have an exam before the hands-on training. So in this case, we are not going to do to show all of this, but we just move on the hands-on training. Here again, just as for the phishing, we have a set of instructions that the trainees needs to follow, and I can click on the link to access the session hijacking cyber range scenario, and here is what I can see, and then I pass the floor to Ange, who will guide through the scenario. So Ange.
Hello everyone. So let me just share my screen. Okay, I think you can see it. So this will be another demonstration on how a student would go about doing a practical training exercise on the CyberWiseR platform. And here I'm already logged in as our student, Mary Smith. So just going on from where Nicolo finished. And as a student, I can see the network topology of the exercise here. And this will be an exercise demonstrating a session hijacking attack. So and it's a red team exercise, which means that our student, Mary Smith, is an attacker. And she has a workstation here that she can use. And here is a victim machine with a web server that contains an XML external entities vulnerability. So her objective here is to exploit this vulnerability to get the contents of a file on the web server. And this file contains session IDs of other logged in users. And by getting the contents, she will be able to hijack the session of another user. And while doing this attack, she needs to find two secrets, which are the objectives in this scenario. So first one is the stolen session ID of the hijacked session, and the second one is the name of the impersonated user, so the user that she is stealing the session from. So I'll just go in to my workstation here. I already have it open. So in this workstation, we already have set up a couple of tools just for the sake of this demo being a bit quicker. We have a burp suite proxy here, which is a proxy tool that logs all the requests and responses from my Firefox to the web server. And then I can edit and repeat these responses as I wish, basically. And so we have a Firefox that's connected through this proxy. And I will just go and open the web server on the victim machine. So this is the web application that contains some vulnerabilities, and I can log in here. And now, as instructed in the instructions for this exercise, the student will know which vulnerability they have to try and exploit. So this is the page that actually contains this XML external entity vulnerability, and we just have a button here that seemingly doesn't do anything. I just pressed it. But so if we go to this burp proxy, we can see that actually here a post request was issued to the web server. And I got to 302. Well, okay. Let's just see what's happening here. If everything is fine. Okay. So we can see this request that's been issued to the server, and there is some XML contents here. And I can edit this. So first, let me show the response of the server. The response is just B's secret has been reset, and this B here is the name of the user that I'm currently logged in as on the web server. So this is just taken from the post body that was posted in the request. So I can say send this to repeater, and I have a tool here in which I can change this request. And already, actually, I have prepared some contents that I need to use. So I have some code here that actually inserts an XML entity in this request. So this entity would be referencing a file on the web server. This is the location of the file. And so in reality, when the student is doing this exercise, they would need to come up with this by themselves, but of course with the help of the training materials that are available to them. And the location of the log file would be known to the students, because otherwise it would be very difficult to do this. So here I'm just going to reference this this variable that I introduced here, and let's hope that this works. So if I issue this request to the server, I hope to get in the response the contents of this file. Let's see what happens. And yes, indeed, I get some contents. And as you can see here, this file contains session IDs of sessions that are logged into the server, which is another vulnerability on the web server side. So I got 2 session IDs, and we can see that the second one here, this one is the same that this one in the request. So this means that this is just my session ID, and this is of no help for me. But I can get the other one, which is clearly a session ID of another user that was previously logged in. So I can copy this, and this is actually the first secret that I need to pass to the performance evaluator, which I can access through this other machine. So this is the interface that the student sees, and you can see here there's 2 flags that I need to submit. The first one would be this, the session ID. So I just pasted it here, and I can submit this flag. And so if I refresh this, you can see that I already have 2.5 out of 5 points for this exercise, and I successfully captured the session ID, so the first flag. So the second objective is to actually hijack the session, and I can simply do this by going back to Firefox. And you can see here that now I'm currently logged in as the user B. So if I open up my cookies, you can see here this is the PHP session ID cookie with this value, and I can simply replace this value with the session ID that I got from the file on the web server. And I confirm this, and when I refresh the page, we should be able to see a different name showing up here. So let's just do that. Okay, and we can see now it says welcome Alice. So Alice would be the second flag that I need to provide. So let's just do that. So that's the name of the impersonated user that we hijacked the session from Alice. So I submit that. Okay, and done. I successfully put in both flags, and I got 5 out of 5 points. So that's it for the student's view. And beside that, we can also see some interesting things on the trainer side. So this is here I'm logged in as the trainer, and we can see what some of the CYBERWISER tools can offer to the trainers. So I'm going to open up this workstation, and I'm going to pass over to Guillermo for him to say a couple of words about this other tools.
Yes, hello again. Congratulations for this exercise. Yes, well, the trainer will have a look of what is going on in the scenario, and he will have different tools for that purpose. We have to remind that there is multiple students working on the scenario. So the trainer should be able to see all of them. And for he will have these tools. In the first place, he will have a CM that show all the events that are going on in the scenario, and it makes some graphics depending on the time that have this event take place. For example, we can see here that yesterday we have maximum events. We have 5 events yesterday, and today we have 2 events. That means that, well, I mean, the trainer can take conclusion for this. We have also a more detailed view of today, and we have 1 event today at, for example, 10, and this event that we just saw. Of course, the trainer can go and see the events in particular. For example, you can see the time. This one is the one that actually answered it, which is a session hijacking. And we have take a look here, for example, of the source of the victim machine. That means we know that at this time session hijacking was occur, and for this machine. The trainer have also another important tool to follow the exercise, which is the economic risk evaluator, which actually make a risk report depending of what is going on in the scenario. So when an event happens and the risk is more, then we will have a new. So here, for example, we can see that the original one was a typical loss, and then after an event have increased and then have increased again. Of course, we can take a look of the last one in detail, the typical loss and the worst case, and in the the loss related to events. And the trainer's view will have also access to the performance evaluator. As we mentioned before, in the phishing scenario, the performance evaluator is adaptable to every scenario. And in this case, the view is completely different. Actually, we already saw the view for a student, which actually have the possibility to submit his flag. And the trainer will take a look of all the performance of all the students. In this case, we can see, for example, some guys have done both exercise, so they have 5 points. We can see, for example, one user, John White, haven't been able to do the scenario, so it's pending. Another user have do it wrong, and we can see here, of course, the score of the student. For example, with a second, because I have to refresh, because it's test. This was Mary Smith. That we can see that for a time that is the one that we did, and yes, she have got 5 points out of 5 because she have submit correctly both flags. And at the end of the scenario, the performance evaluator will send this info to the cross-learning facilities. So now I am passing the flag again to Anse, that will finish the scenario and take a look of the results and the diploma for the student.
Okay, yeah. So as the trainer, I can just finish the exercise using this function here, and by doing this, the score is sent back to the student's workplace. And basically, this concludes this presentation. So thank you to Guillermo and Vasilis, and I think I can go back to Nicolo now.
Yeah, so thanks, Ange. So thanks, Ange, Guillermo, and Vasilis for your explanation. We are perfectly on time to continue with the event. So now you've seen a little demo of you know, what the CyberWiser.eu platform can do. We had some questions in the chat. I try to basically answer to them all. So basically, what we are offering is basically it's basically a free trial. What we will be looking at in the afternoon. So obviously, not having all the features that the full version has, but the thing here is that you can get it for free. So if you're staying on the afternoon, you will have the possibility to chat one-on-one with us, with the CyberWiser.eu team, to basically know more about the platform, and also see some other, let's say, components that can help you in the training. And you will also have the opportunity to apply for a free trial, and you will see we have designed 3 different packages for you to choose from, each one with different features, all for free. I see someone is asking for the price, so this can be found on the cyberwiser.eu website. There's a page which is called course pricing, and we can talk about it about prices as well during the afternoon session if you join. Now we need to move to the next session. So please, all of you attend this. We will close this link and join a new one. So please go back into the auditorium and
Niccolo,
join. Yeah.
We have a 30-minute lunch break.
All right, we have the lunch break. Sorry, I didn't realize that. So we have the lunch break, so 30-minute stops, and then please connect back to the vFairs platform and check on the auditorium for basically the round table which is remaining, and the closing remark for part 1, and then obviously stay on with part 2, in which we will be talking more in depth about the platform, so the practical side. So thanks for attending until now. Have a lovely lunch, and see you back in 30 minutes.